Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. Good evening. I wasn't planning on doing a video this evening, but today OpenAI decided to drop what they call Operator, and I couldn't get the old Jim Croce song out of my head. I would put it in here, a quick clip, but I'd probably get copyright strike. You know, it's the operator, will you help me place this call? Anyway, old song, very, very different operator. This operator is an agent. It's one of the early agents that OpenAI has put out there for us. I have a pro mode. Yes, I'm paying $200 a month. It seems a little excessive, but it gives you first access to these things. So anyway, you know, this is the default page, and I would show you the side, except that I have some actual things I realized that I can't show you over there in my like sort of history window. So I will put up a screen grab of where it is, but it's over on the left-hand side, just underneath the like top bar, and then ChatGPT, and then there's Operator. If you click on Operator, it pops up this window here, and my internet is being very, very slow tonight. So I'm between that and the fact that Operator is very, very slow, I'm going to be cutting a lot of things out of here. I actually had a project that I started on my laptop here, and it's been working on this for forever, and I haven't seen any real results. So I don't know whether to say it's going to work or not. I'm going to do a couple of quick tests, but you can see what I was like, well, let's just test it out, see if it can do things on its own. It only really is able to interact with a web browser, so everything's got to be web interface. So, can't have it go pick you up some beer at the grocery store or something like that. It's got to be web-based, but that is a lot of things. So anyway, I just asked, I want the weather in LA, San Francisco, and Seattle for the next 10 days and a table that compares temperature, humidity, and weather, and, sunny, cloudy, raining, etc. And you can see that it has its own little mini browser that it uses, and then it actually sort of navigates through them. I'm not exactly sure why it is stuck on this. I will probably just sort of regenerate this because it appears to be kind of broken at this point. It's been working for forever. So anyway, I'm going to try a different task first. And like I said, depending on how long all of this stuff takes, I'll almost certainly be cutting this. I'll go and do some other work in the meantime or something, because certainly one thing that I've already discovered just from asking one question is that this operator thing is not very fast. So you can see here that they have suggestions and that there's general categories and stuff. I'm going to put in a travel question. I'm going to have it, figure out some sort of plane itinerary or something to travel to a few different places. I'm not going to make it ridiculously complicated because, again, I don't want to be here all night waiting for this thing to generate its answers. Does not appear to be the fastest thing in the world, but I'll give it a little bit of a challenge. Okay, so my question is, hi, I need to travel to multiple cities with my wife, so it's going to need to book 2 tickets. Can you please search and find us the best flights in terms of price and time, balance them, not too much time and not too much cost. We want to travel starting on February 14th. I'm just arbitrary. This is not real. And ending on the 28th. And we wish to travel from Atlanta to Los Angeles, then to New York City, and finally to London. Dates for all of these are flexible, but we need to spend at least 3 days in each city as we visit. Find us the best options on reputable airlines. So in other words, I don't want to be flying on some kind of airline that's like, Joe's Airlines or something. So you can already see here what it's done is it's popped open a browser and it's looking at Skyscanner right now. And there was also multi-city flight booking that it looked at. So it's got this stuff and it's kind of clicking through here. And if I click on this, I believe that I can see its working memory, although that was showing up before, but I don't see it now. So there was like a thing where it sort of showed what it was thinking as it was working on this stuff, but I'm not seeing that at the moment. There is a thing that says take control, and you can also pause it at any point. So you do have a kind of control. I have not tried popping this up into full. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this puts this over here, and then if I click this, yeah, there you go. So it's popped it up into a larger window. Anyway, so yeah, it says take control, and you can always pause the activity if you want. There is also, because the whole idea of this, it's an agent. It's supposed to do these things autonomously. As you see, it's actually searching through all this stuff, which is the cool part. So it doesn't really necessarily matter how much time it takes, within reason. You don't want to take 3 days or something like that. But if it takes an hour or something, there was a thing that popped up when I first signed up and it said like allow notifications from this website. I said yes. So what it could do is it could ping me after it gets done and say like, hey, I've found the flights for you or something along those lines. So anyway, it's working on this stuff autonomously, opening up web browsers. The really cool part was when I asked about the weather, because I said I wanted a table, and it actually, before it failed, and I was switching between my laptop and my desktop computer, so that's probably why that ended up doing what it did. So you can see I've set up an itinerary. Oh, it actually looks like it might be finished at this point. LA, February 14th. This is for 2 adults, economy class. Should I proceed? I don't know how to tell it. I guess I just type it in here. Yes, and please So I guess it asked that question. It's a little interesting that it did that. Yeah, so let's see. We got flying to LA on the 14th, flying to Los Angeles to New York on the 18th. Okay, so that's 4 days there. That fulfills it. And then another 4 days, and then London on London, February 22nd. So that would be 6 days there, which is probably pretty reasonable. I think I'd rather spend more time in London if I was going to do this for real. So anyway, let's see. So now it's thinking. We get to see this. It looks like cheap domestic flights waiting. So I guess what it's done first is sort of organize the time schedule. It said like these reasonable dates for you, and now it's going to go ahead and do all of the searching for me. You know, when we're thinking about vacations and stuff like that, it is interesting to have access to something like this because it's a giant pain in the butt to try to like look at all these different options. So again, I don't know exactly how well this is going to work, but I'm very interested in how if it would work without me really having to delve into it and think about it too much. That would be a huge advantage. So let's see, multi-city itinerary. Oh, Spirit Airlines. I said I wanted reputable airlines. Departing, arriving, LA, etc., New York to London with TAP Air Portugal. Okay. So more Spirit Airlines. The total cost is $515. Wow. That is incredibly cheap. Let's see. I'm just going to throw this in here. Can we move up a step and not use Spirit? Thanks. So let's see see how it handles that. I mean, that's kind of shocking that it's actually that cheap for two people to be $1,030. I set a balance of not traveling too long and also not being too expensive, but wow, I'm impressed. I usually can't find anything that cheap. So maybe I need to start using this operator to do this thing. So anyway, let's see. So I'll pop this open so I can see. So scrolling again, you can see it's going through here and it's actually looking at these flights. I wonder if what it's going to do is, and it's really weird to see it operating this thing. It's actually like, interacting with the web. And it clearly is a web browser because you can see the advertisements over on the right and all of that kind of stuff. So pretty wild. So it's like exploring airlines, excluding Spirit. It's probably going to pop up with Frontier or something, almost definitely. I probably should have said knock out Frontier, but I was curious to see if it would understand that low sort of rent airline company is those together, like Frontier and Spirit in the United States would be those kind of airlines. So anyway, it's fine. I mean, Spirit and all that stuff is great, but it's just I'm a little bit old and have enough money at this point in my life that I would prefer not to deal with the fun of having to deal with Spirit and Frontier. Those kind of low cost things. They definitely have a place, I think. Can't tell if it's actually take control. Nope, it looks like it's still working. There's also a little play button down here, and apparently there is a way that if you're not watching this, if you just have it running in the background, which of course would be ideal. Although in this case, it's already asked me 2 questions, which is not perfect by any means. I wish that it would just do it on its own, because if it's asking me questions, then there's less agentic behavior in this. Although I have asked it to spend money on my behalf, so I could see why it wants to ask questions. So anyway, by the way, I got this when I was in Paris. It is a moon swatch. So, Omega / swatch. I don't know. It just tickles my fancy. It's actually a moon phase one with Snoopy on there. So Snoopy moon phase. So anyway, love this watch. It's just awesome. It's got the stopwatch and stuff. Very, very kitschy. I mean, I also have an Omega Speedmaster in my collection, but a real one, but this one's kind of awesome. So anyway, I sort of love it. But anyway, it's cool to see how this is working, although searching itineraries. See, this is the thing is like, I think it gets stuck somehow. And I don't know exactly. Let me see if I can pause it and then restart it or something. So this is definitely, they say it's a research preview in the announcement. So it feels very much like that. It feels like it's not quite ready to be productized. I'm still waiting to see if it's going to decide to continue. It got stuck like this when it was trying to do the weather thing as well. Speaking of which, I think I'm going to go to another tab and try to do that at the same time, just to see if we can make progress in other areas. So it's a little unfortunate because it's like almost there, but not quite there yet. At least that's my sort of judgment after just a couple of these searches. All right, so let's load this up again. I don't know if it really matters whether I pick travel. Oh, these are just suggestions. That's why it matters. So, okay, so I can type anything I want. It doesn't make any difference. So let's go ahead and re-ask that question. So I said, I need to know the weather in LA, San Francisco, and Seattle for each of the next 10 days. Again, I was thinking, what if I was traveling or something on the West Coast? In a table that compares temperature, humidity, and weather, sunny, cloudy, raining, etc. I just felt like that was a good challenge for it because it's got to navigate several web pages. You can see it's opening multiple tabs up while we're going. And then I guess what it was doing was actually opening up a spreadsheet page, and it was like a Microsoft one instead of Google, which... whatever. I would always pick Google Sheets over any Microsoft product, but you also notice it's searching Bing. At least I think it was. I believe that was the search engine that it was using. So of course it's using Microsoft stuff because it's OpenAI. But anyway, it would open up. So everything it was doing, it wasn't opening up a local, like Microsoft Excel on your hard drive. It was opening up something in the web and using that to create the table, which I think is where it ran into the problem. But anyway, so you can see it's actively out here, like looking at the weather forecast and everything. And again, you can take control at any point. Looks like if you hit pause, you could rewind and you could look at all the steps that it's taken. Anyway, in the meantime, let us go back over here and see. Yeah, so again, we're stuck, which is unfortunate. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. It just says 2 tasks in process, but it's a little unfortunate because I don't know how to force it to kind of restart once it's stopped. All right, so let's resume this conversation and see what's going on. Maybe scrolling. I don't know. If this doesn't work, I'm going to prompt it again. But again, the whole point of an agent as opposed to a chat bot is that it should be doing this stuff on its own. It's supposed to be able to do multiple complex steps independently of you. So I'm not seeing a lot of progress in that. Let's go over and take a look at this. Haven't seen a lot of progress in this as well. So yeah, again, maybe this is just being overwhelmed by people using it, so it's not working particularly well, but I have not had it complete anything. What I might do is take one of the sample things that they suggest doing and see if that works as well. I believe you can have 10 tasks running at the same time. So you can currently see that there's 2. So let me see if I can go and use one of their default suggestions and see if it works a little better on that. Oh, and just as I was about to leave here, it actually seems to be making progress again. So, we were up here exploring airlines, excluding Spirit, and now it's actually looking through all of these things, going back to Skyscanner, adjusting passenger count, searching for flights, etc. So yeah, let's see. I'm very curious. And then I'm curious also if it does pop up with this, if I can actually ask it to give me the flight numbers and things like that, so I could go ahead and book it. Now, I'm obviously don't want it spending money on my behalf because I really don't want to make this trip, although it sounds pretty interesting. But I would be curious if it could give me the flights and give me the information and maybe even give me the URLs. I'm not sure if I can copy that URL from within that. So let's see, clearing selections, adjusting filters, adjusting departure filters. Yeah, so it's doing, there's a complex stuff going on in here because it's having to deselect Spirit Airlines and choose something else instead to do these flights. Yeah, so, and it's interesting up here because we've got any Atlanta to London. That's interesting because I didn't think that was the dates that it had actually selected. I thought it was actually the 22nd to the 28th. So, 3 flights. Okay, I see. So it's actually doing something. One thing that it forgot to do, I just realized it never did a round trip back from London back to Atlanta. So there should actually be 4 flights ending on the 28th. So that is a little bit of a boo-boo on the part of the agent. It probably should realize that we don't want to spend the rest of our lives in London, and that we want to come back to the United States at some point. So anyway, but it is working. So, quite a bit, actually. It's doing a lot of things. So, okay, so here we go. So Atlanta with Frontier. I knew it was going to find Frontier. And with Alaska's a good airline. I like that. So it's very funny that, that it did that. And wow, it really raised the price because Spirit is substantially cheaper. But of course, if I had to take luggage and all that stuff, it would end up not being that much cheaper. Anyway, should I proceed with this option to view more details? Yeah, sure. Why not? Yes. So that was one of the reasons why it was cheaper than I thought it would have been, because I was like, wait a second, it's actually 4 flights, not 3. So let's go ahead and hop over here. We have not made any progress. I'm going to attempt to pause it and restart it. We'll see if maybe that actually helps. And then I'm going to try to do one of their default actions because, yeah, it's very interesting. It seems to get stalled out. And again, it's probably, this is very early release stuff, and it's quite possible there's like, you know, thousands of people hitting this at the same time. So it may be a little overwhelmed. All right, let's see. What do we have? Let's do some shopping. A rustic farmhouse kitchen sign that can be customized with our family name. Authentic Gucci sun. That's fine. Let's find some authentic Gucci sunglasses at a discounted price. Sure, why not? We'll use one of their suggestions. So again, because it's one of their suggestions, this is a much simpler task than what I've been giving it. It's like, you know, a couple of steps rather than a lot of steps. Okay, that's interesting. It seemed to have lost the response that I made. Huh. Did that actually end up getting loaded? Very weird. Let's maybe try another task then, if it's not going to do that. So, all right, let's try something else. Good quality fryer for under 100. Okay, fine. Let's do, that's a nice, simple task. I still, so far, operator has been interesting, but certainly nothing I'm going to get excited about and write home about because it's just not doing much of anything at this point. So, okay, here we go. So this time it didn't ask questions. It just went ahead and said like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Interestingly enough, I'm not seeing the little swirly thing up here where it's saying what tasks it's working on, like over here. So, okay, so, okay. Please do, okay, flight details, Atlanta, LA, 14th, layover in Las Vegas. Atlanta to February 18th, New York on JetBlue, the total price, 17. Yeah, well, I already said that. Okay, I don't know why it needs, this is, agentic behavior should be agentic. Like the whole point is I want it to do it on its own. A little bit too much hand holding going on here. So yeah, so let's see how it's doing on the air fryer. So it is searching. I unfortunately, let me see if I pop this open and I can get some more. Yeah, here we go. So target, interesting, search bar. Oh, wow. Look at it over on the right. That's really cool. It's actually looking at the search bar and it's going to, I assume, check the box. Yeah, $50 to $100. So that's really cool. It's cool that it found that. I didn't even, I would have had to search around for the, you know, the price filter to see if I could find that. So, requesting confirmation. Oh, sorry. I guess okay. There we go. Again, too much hand holding. I don't know why it's got to ask me this question. I know they're being ultra careful because they don't want to, because this is actually the live internet, right? We're not talking about some little fake internet that it's working on, little, you know, sandbox thing. This is the real internet that it's working with, target.com. So I'm sure it wants to be extra careful, but it is a little annoying that, you know, that it requires so much hand holding. I'm sure over time, again, this is the worst it will ever be. That's the kind of thing you have to remember. Oh, cool. I didn't even realize there were air fryers for as cheap as that. So cool. Let's hop back here. Let's take a look at the flights. It is, setting up flight searches, etc. Over here on the weather. Okay, it seems to be more details. You can visit the forecasts. Okay, LA, San Francisco, Seattle. Ugh, can you... Okay, I'm going to ask it to put it in a spreadsheet. So it did actually do that. I mean, it's found, and oh, Lord, it's in Fahrenheit. Ugh. I'm going to barf. I need to tell it to do that, but I'll wait for just a moment. So we'll see. Anyway, yeah, I was looking at those numbers going like, that's not right for wintertime. And then I realized it was in Fahrenheit. Okay, so yeah, so it's actually doing stuff, and now it's actually going, I think it's going to Google Sheets. Oh, man. Don't tell Microsoft that. Last time it went to some sort of Microsoft online spreadsheet thing or something like that. But let's see if it's actually able to do Google Sheets without signing in. That's an interesting question. And that's one of those things that would make the agent more useful, is actually eventually if you could give it your login credentials for, you know, various places so that it could log in as you and actually do things on your behalf more. So anyway, I wonder, it looks like, I think it's doing, yeah, here we go, visual paradigm or something online. So I think what it's doing is it's attempting to find a free spreadsheet. Searching for online, yep, there we go. So it decided that Sheets was not the right answer because it couldn't get on there without having to log in with a Google account. So closing irrelevant what's new pop-up window. That is awesome. I love that. It closes pop-up windows. So this is the cool part about this, for folks who don't know, is that this is able to pixel level control the mouse, right? The little cursor here that's over right there. It's able to move that around to places and understand where those are. That has been a really devilishly difficult thing for AI to be able to do previously. So the big kind of aha thing, even though this isn't working perfectly by any means at this point, is that it's able to control a mouse very, very accurately enough to, you can see it's actually putting, well, at this point it's probably tabbing, but it put the mouse over the A1, cell, and then entered date, and then it's starting to tab over to enter the other values in here. And then I assume it's going to type it all in. So that's pretty remarkable. This is something that a year ago was basically impossible. And so we've got, these neural networks that not only are able to do agentic work, but also navigate web pages, understand them semantically, and be able to control the mouse to the level of being able to put in this stuff. So you can see what it's doing is it's very, very slowly typing in the dates, but it's doing it. So I think, it moved the mouse to the original spot, and then it's been using the tab key and the return key to get into there. And you can see it moved it down to A2, that cell, to start typing in the dates. So I assume what it'll do next is it'll move over to city. This is interesting. I wonder what it's going to do. If it's going to put like dates, city, and then more dates, city, more dates. I don't know. We'll see what it decides to do. I'm happy because this is further than it got last time. So it got stuck there last time. So let's see. I found a one-way freight from London to Atlanta, operator Iceland Air with 2 stops. Oh, fine, whatever. Yes. Okay. Wow. That's crazy. That's like almost as much as the whole rest of the thing. Like that's $1,900 just to come back from, that's interesting. That's always the thing that kills you, is that round trip part of things that gets back. So anyway, I'm just trying to get some actual numbers. So we're going to be on quite a few different airlines here. I believe we're going to be on Frontier, Alaska. I don't know if there was another one. I can't remember what's flying actually to London, but then also to Iceland Air, which is cool. And if we were going to do a layover in Reykjavik, I would actually like to stay for a couple of days because I've never visited Iceland. I hear it's amazing. Maybe do it not in February, but like June or something like that. But anyway, that'd be cool. Oh, okay. So we got a result for our thing. Would you like more information on any of these options? Let's see. Which one looks the best? 6 quart, 8 quart. Let me be a little vague. The 8QT one, right? So that it should pick out number 2 because that's the 8 quart, obviously. And then hopefully we will get some more information about that. So really cool. You can see that I don't know why it decided Target was the only thing it was going to look at instead of like Google Shopping or something like that. But it went through all of them. It opened up several tabs on my end, and yeah. So you can see where it's agentic, but not completely agentic at this point, because none of these things it has done completely, front to back. Okay. One-touch functions, cooking. When you like more, let me just ask, can I buy it? Let's see if it like takes me, like puts it in my cart and things like that, and gets to the point where I could actually put in my credit card number. That would be kind of cool. Yeah, I don't really need an air fryer, but if I did, that's not a bad price. Okay, click the add to cart button, go to the cart, and that's, would you like me to add this to? Yes. I'm going to see how far it'll go. Oops. I don't know why. It's not, for some reason, it's not typing the first letter. Hopefully it interprets that as yes. All right, so let's see how it goes. Scrolling to air fryer. So I'm curious how it's going to put it in the cart. It's kind of right behind my name, more or less, is where the add to cart is. So you can see it operates, but certainly not at human speed, because as a human, I could go click, click, click. I would have bought that thing in seconds if I was really interested. Checking for stock, locations for availability. I wonder if it knows where I live. That's interesting. I don't think I told this version of it where I am, unless it's using my location, just, like just knows because it's got that information there. Shipping options, checking shipping options to add item. Okay, well, this is interesting. So it doesn't look like it's picked delivery yet. So I'm curious. Of course, this is still on the 6 quart. So I think I think it's doing stuff over here on this tab, but I can't see it at this point. All right, let's take a look over here at the tab to book the flight. No. No, no, no. Oh, that's Iberia. Wait, it's changed things around for me. Yes, book them all. I think it's kind of lost track here. It seems to be only on the one flight, not all of them. So let's see if it will actually do that. And let's see if we have, okay, so it's making exceptionally slow progress getting there. So you can see it's doing Los Angeles. Again, this is what I'm saying. Like, at this point, this is, you know, I could have done this a whole lot faster on my own. So we're not talking about something where this thing is going to be beating humans just yet. But again, remember, this is a research prototype. It's an agent. It's doing cool work. It's able to interact with the web in you know, it's an unconstrained environment. Web pages, they do follow some formatting and stuff, but it's pretty wild west out there in terms of how all these pages are formatted, all of the pop-up ads that happen, how things work. So it's very cool that it's able to do this. It's just exceptionally slow at this point. So we'll have to wait, and hopefully this will get faster in terms of its ability to be able to navigate and everything. But it is doing it. It's just taking a really long time. Okay, so hopping back over here. Oh, good. We've popped back over to the 8 quart thing. Would you like me to add it to your cart? Yes, and buy it. I'm a little scared. It doesn't have access to my credit card, so hopefully it won't do that. But at least hopefully it'll put me in it'll put it in the cart. So that'd be a little scary if it had access to my credit card. I remember a few years back with, I think it was Alexa, though, geez, she's going to respond to me now, that you could put things in the cart and actually buy them immediately. And people, as a joke, would go over to other people's houses and order, you know, like 50 pizzas or something like that. So ha ha ha. But anyway, so there hopefully are some controls on that to keep it from doing that kind of a thing. So to proceed with the checkout process, I think I already said that. So again, a lot of hand holding for an agent. I mean, I can do all of this stuff myself way faster and easier. So it's interesting as a research project at this point, not particularly useful, still really cool that it can do it, but it's definitely not going to change my life in the near future. But this shows you how things are going to go. The future could be a pretty cool place. Okay, including tax. To proceed, you'll need to sign into your Target account. Oh, interesting. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and click login on the browser. This is the operator browser. Take control. Okay. Won't take screenshots while you have control. That's good to know, actually. Okay, so now it has turned control over to me, and I can sign in to check out. So cool. I mean, I obviously don't want to buy it, but that's very cool. So it went through. Not particularly useful, but it did it. I think it probably could have looked at more sites than Target. It could have maybe done Google Shopping or something to get a little bit more of a broad spectrum possibility of places it could have bought, but it succeeded. It got the task done. So I'm going to close that. Okay, direct flight. It seems to be, didn't I say this already? Direct flight, Iberia. Yes. I think it's stuck. So this is the problem here, is that it's kind of attempting to do this, but it's sort of lost track of things. So let's see, the direct flight. Yeah. Oh, scrolling to passenger details. So apparently I'm going to probably have to take over at some point. It's complete. Okay. If it can give me flight numbers and dates times for each of the flights, because I don't know exactly what I'm booking at this point. Okay. And while we're waiting, yep. Okay. So it did as I suspected. It's coming in here. So you can see, I mean, I don't know why it takes so long to type San Francisco 10 times. It probably could have done that quicker. Sorry. I probably should have done a 5-day forecast. If I'd realized it was going to be this slow, I would have definitely done that. I'm going to wait. Hopefully it's going to get done. This one, I didn't ask it for, well, I did ask for a table. Oh, it did put it in a table originally. So anyway, this one's required the least amount of interaction, I think primarily because I'm not dealing with purchasing decisions and stuff. So it's able to be a little more proactive on its own part. Yeah. And anyway, so we'll go back over here, see what it's doing. Can you give me information? So it's looking, okay. Retrieving multi-city flight details now. Yeah, because honestly, this would be the thing that I would want more than anything else, is just a little table of like, this flight is here, cost this much money, it's Iberia flight, whatever. That's the kind of thing I would want, and just give me a little table format. So we'll see if we can get that as a result. Interestingly, and oh, here we go. Okay, cool. Atlanta to LA, Frontier. So I'm going to check this and see if this is hallucinating or not. I'm hoping no, because it was looking at a web page. So I'm going to look at Frontier Airlines. and we'll see what I get in terms of a result to that. All right, and in the meantime, we've got San Francisco entered, we've got some rain, we've got some partly cloudy. Wow, LA's supposed to get rain next week? That's crazy. That's interesting, unexpected. Good for them though. They need the rain. Good gracious, the fires and everything. That would be a very, very important little bit of rain that they could get. And of course, they should be getting it in January, February kind of thing. All right, and yeah, another ding against operator. I tried to find this F92315 flight status. Frontier Airlines doesn't even use a flight number that's that big. So, and it's saying that this is a Philadelphia flight to Charlotte, North Carolina. So none of those are correct. I'm going to make another attempt and try a different one. So this is not going particularly well here. So NK982. That's interesting. Who is this flight? Oh, this is Spirit. I thought I said no Spirit Airlines. Okay, well, anyway, we'll try Spirit Airlines. We'll see if it hallucinates less with that one. So we've got Spirit 982 is Las Vegas to Oakland. Yeah, okay. So unfortunately, it appears that it is it's hallucinating this information. So yeah, so that makes the agent a whole lot less useful if it hallucinates this information. It's interesting here. I'm trying to look multi-city flight. Let's see. This is open browser screenshot. I'm just going to see if I can take over and take a look at what's going on here. So cheap flights, multi-city flight, Skyscanner. Okay, that's not helpful. So clearly it got a little bit beyond its capabilities, because I can see here that there is an Atlanta to Hartsfield Jackson. 93215. That's interesting. That is what it said, isn't it? So I'm a little confused, because that definitely seems... I'm not exactly sure. I don't know why that was registering as incorrect. Maybe that flight number is only there for specific dates or something. But anyway, I don't seem to be able to like click on it to like actually select it. So, yeah. So, not particularly useful at this point. Still waiting for this to get done. San Francisco is missed in this one, so oops. But let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we got 10 Seattles. I'm going to let this finish at its incredibly glacial pace, and we will see how it does. Thus far, this is interesting, but it's clearly just interesting. It's nothing that would be useful at this point. Maybe I can set a cron job. They already have a thing called tasks, I believe, that you can set to do a certain activity certain times a day. So, between those two, maybe we can get something useful out of this. But thus far, my opinion about operator is... it's an interesting scientific demonstration research project, not particularly useful. I mean, it's got to be faster than this. It's got to be like orders of magnitude faster, not just faster, but like 100 times faster, something along those lines. It's got to be human speed or faster, or it's just not that useful. All right, I think we finally have something. We have high and low temperatures. Looks like it wants to save as, I'm not sure, saving locally as an Excel spreadsheet. Wow. I didn't realize it would actually save it. Log into your workspace. Oh, that's a shame. Yeah. Unfortunately, just when I was going to look at it and see what the answers were and what the tables looked like, it wants to save. That's unfortunate. I would have been perfectly happy to have looked at it online, but that's still cool. Attempting to navigate back and access the spreadsheet. Yes, please. I hope it can do that, because I don't really have an account for this, so I don't really want to be doing that. I also like the fact that it is able to back up when it has a problem, or at least make an attempt to do that. So it's trying to right click, an issue saving the spreadsheet with the weather data. Would you like me to save the data in a different format or recreate the graph using another tool? Oh, good Lord. I don't want you to recreate it again. Just show it to me online. Yeah, let's see. Let's see if it can back up. Because I was actually curious to see what the weather looked like, but unfortunately it was it went one step too far, and it went there. So let's see if we can go alt left arrow or back or whatever and see if it can actually navigate backwards. And let's see, refreshing page. I hope it doesn't go too far back, because otherwise it'll have to retype it all in, and I'm not sticking around for that. I didn't care that much about the answer. So let's see, navigating browser history to spreadsheet, etc. And history is blocked. No. Oh, no. Oh. So clearly we're in some sort of Chromium. Okay, there we go. All right. I was worried there. So it looks like what they've got is a Chrome fork, a Chromium, which I believe is open source Chrome, if I'm remembering correctly. So that appears to be what they're using. So anyway, yeah, so we've got high and low temperatures but it looks like just for LA and San Francisco, although let me take control here. Okay. Now this is annoying. I have to say this every single time. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can expand it and see if there is a Seattle in there too. No. So for some reason it only did LA and San Francisco, and it didn't really stack them. This is not the greatest graph in the world. I kind of wanted like an overlay comparison, right? I wanted to see Los Angeles high-low temperatures, San Francisco high-low, and Seattle high-low. So it's not a great graph. It did make an attempt at it. So anyway, the underlying data I believe is correct because I was kind of glancing at it as it went, but I'm not going to guarantee that. This browser, by the way, the browser inside a browser is very, very slow to operate. I can feel it like when I'm pulling around. So Seattle, San Francisco, partly cloudy, highs and lows, humidity. Yeah, I mean, okay. It looks reasonable. Los Angeles should be the warmest of the three, and then it should get more chilly as it goes to Seattle. I'm not going to make an attempt to make this do anything else because it's so darn slow. I've already spent, let's see, where am I? I've spent 50 minutes working on this. So if this video is only like 22 minutes long, know that I spent a lot of time waiting for things to update. So anyway, that is operator tested. You know, it's nothing that I'm going to feel obliged to use in the next month or two because it looks like it's pretty poor. At this point, I'll kind of test it out once in a while and just see how it's doing. But at this point, it's not particularly usable because it requires, number one, too much hand holding. And number two, it requires a lot of time. It's very, very slow to do relatively simple tasks. To OpenAI's credit, number one, they've released this, which is very cool. And number two, which means that open source versions of this will come out soon. In fact, there already have been some open source stuff, but this works pretty well and it's fairly predictable. But number two, of course, this will get faster. They will navigate the web faster. The mouse movements and the typing and all that stuff will get significantly faster over time. So my prediction is in 6 months, this is going to be quite useful. Not particularly useful now, but we will see what the open source community has to say about this and whether they decide they were going to build something that's even better than this, which would be super cool. I love the competition. Thank you to OpenAI for releasing this to us. I like it, even though it's only for pro users at this point. So, kind of an expensive toy, but it is very, very cool to see this. So anyway, thanks a lot. Let me know what you all think about this in the comments. I would definitely like to know. And it's my birthday next week, my 60th birthday next week. Geez. So if you don't mind subscribing to the channel for a birthday present, that would be awesome. If not, just watch the videos. That's cool. I appreciate that as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.